Now we're taking you to Mount Everest. Cool. Let's get into our main story of the day, because a massive scandal has just broken involving Mount Everest, and it sounds almost too insane to be real. Authorities in Nepal have charged over 30 individuals in what's being described as a $20 million insurance fraud scheme targeting climbers. And here's where it gets dark. Some guides are being accused of intentionally making climbers sick, even poisoning them, to force emergency helicopter rescues. Let that sink in. You travel across the world, spend tens of thousands of dollars, trust your life to a guide on the most dangerous climb on Earth. And according to investigators, in some cases, that same guide may have been working against you. Here's how the scam allegedly worked. Climbers would start feeling symptoms, nausea, dizziness, weakness, things that could easily be mistaken for altitude sickness. But investigators say some guides were adding substances like baking soda to food or giving pills to intentionally trigger those symptoms. Then comes the pressure. You need to evacuate. This could be fatal. We need a helicopter now. The next thing you know, and Doug's your guide, slipping baking soda.
Doug's the guide.
Next thing you know, you're being airlifted off the mountain. Sounds like a rescue, but according to authorities, it was all part of the plan, because once that helicopter takes off, the billing starts. Insurance companies are charged for emergency evacuation, hospital treatment, medical reports. Except, according to investigators, many of those reports were completely fabricated. Hospitals were allegedly involved. Helicopter companies were involved. Tour operators were involved. A full ecosystem built around one thing, turning fear into profit. And the scale of this is staggering. Authorities say thousands of climbers, over 4,700, may have been affected between 2022 and 2025. Millions of dollars flowing through a system where the more emergencies you create, the more money you make. Now, to be clear, there is some debate around how widespread the actual poisoning element is. Some reports suggest the fraud is undeniable, but the poisoning claims are still being scrutinized. But even if you strip that apart away, the core of the story doesn't change, because at the minimum, what you have here is a system where climbers are misled about their condition. Rescues are pushed unnecessarily, and insurance payouts are manipulated, all in one of the most extreme environments on Earth. And that's what makes this so unsettling, because Mount Everest has already become a symbol of commercialization, overcrowding, inexperienced climbers, guided expeditions turning a once elite challenge into something closer to a high-risk tourism industry. Now add this layer on top of it, where the very people you trust to get you down safely might have an incentive to get you off the mountain early. Not for your safety, but for a payout. And the flip, and that flips the entire dynamic, because the moment trust is compromised in an environment like Everest, where every decision can be life or death, you're not just talking about fraud anymore. You're talking about a system where survival itself can be manipulated. And that's why the story is exploding, because it forces a brutal question. When everything becomes commercialized, even something as extreme as climbing Everest, what's still real and what's just part of a business model? So, as somebody that really never had interest in climbing Everest, when I see the trail of frozen popsicle people on your way up, I've always kind of looked at it as, hey, baby, that's what you get. That's the shake you signed up for. But this isn't that. And it's how many of those people popsicles were just given some baking soda by Doug?
Doug, how could you?
I wasn't there. This is all allegedly.
Doug's like, I don't even like playing golf when it's a little wet. I don't like mud.
I don't like outside. I'm an inside Doug.
I'm an inside Doug.
I just got to say this. If you climb Everest, whatever happens to you, you deserved it. Whether you made it to the top or you got scammed.
You did it. It's more than we can say.
Unless you're one of those professional climbers that you like the guy that scaled that building, like that free climb guy. He did it. He climbs these buildings and stuff.
Right.
They're built to do these.
What about Michael Pilsner?
Who?
The if I think that's the first name, Pilsner, the guy that's took a pill in Ibiza.
Mike Posner?
Posner. Pilsner.
Yeah, like him. If you could do it, great. If you
Well,
find out you got,
I think he did do Everest. He turned himself into a climber. That's what I was wondering. Like, where do you draw the line? There's the pros that are like, this is my whole life. Then there's the hobbyists that are like, every time I can, I will. Then there's people that are like, I've climbed the Brexville Metro Parks once.
It's those people. It's those people. Because the pros aren't falling for it. They eat something. Be like, this is definitely not altitude. I've been at high altitudes like this before. Maybe not this most extreme condition, but I know what altitude sickness feels like. This isn't it. Like this is something different.
Well, and the scary part is, kind of following your train of thought, these are the sticklers that take what they're doing so serious
Right.
that, they would trust an egg salad sandwich with no idea that that's mixed in there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, it's the scariest part about this story is it is the tour guide that you have the most blind faith in.
Right. And these pros, they don't need the tour guide for blind faith and
His egg salad sandwich.
Right. It's just simply what path of the mountain.
That is true. I mean, the pro is like, oh no, I
have my own stuff.
I have my
just
climb
sorta need you
bars
to
and
kind of point me in a direction and I'll make my way up there.
Well, you got to look for the red jacket guy up at the top.
What you gotta do is
you're
go
gonna
up.
You're going to
Thanks.
turn right at the guy frozen with blue goggles. And then when you're there, if you get to the pink dress or the pink jacket, too far.
And if you get to that part of the mountain where there's like 1,000 frozen bodies,
Run.
you know where you're at. Oh,
I think it's absurd that is what Everest has become.
yeah.
Like, it's just trash and frozen people.
If you're not a professional climber, why would you tackle this beast? And then put your blind faith in the person
It's
that's
like
there.
Mr. Deeds. Because he did it just because he had the money. He's like, I'm gonna do it for my 70th birthday or whatever it was. And we saw what happened in that movie.
Right.
Doug, look at the traffic at Everest now. I mean, who does this look fun to? Like, you're donkey piled on the guy in front of you.
For those that don't know, the individual that was just talking did something similar to this in a
cave, which is petrifying. Again, maybe that is it. This is outside and more right.
Way up too.
I guess that is what's triggering the fear in me, because I look at that and I'm just like,
I'd rather be undergrounded, honestly.
I don't know.
I don't think you do. I'm good right there.
Underground is yeah, just keep me at
I'm
this
good.
plane.
Put me
Oh,
at the
yeah.
tee box. I'm good there.
Yeah.
I'm real good there.
I'd prefer to be here, but versus being way up there or way down there, I'd rather be down there.
And like when I see those photos
Oh.
of that giant line of people, I'm looking at them like they're casuals, more so than the real seasoned vets, because they want to tackle it on their own. They're like, no, I want to do Everest.
Right.
I don't necessarily need the guide. I've already probably mapped out the mountain beforehand. I haven't gotten up there to see the terrain and all up close and personal, but I have an idea of how I'm going to tackle this climb rather than we have the one-eyed guy taking us up there and we're about a quarter mile up the mountain. He's like, we got to evacuate. We got to get you out of here.
Right. And bringing in when we were presenting the story, you want to talk about how commercialized this has become? Like, look at this level of trash.
Dude, when I was a Boy Scout, they told us you bring out what you bring in.
Yeah, and the
That's-
whole
that's
philosophy of
apparently
Everest is if you have any chance at bringing yourself, just yourself out of here, leave whatever you need.
So according to each year, between 600 to 800 people reach the peak of Everest a year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's way more than I thought, right?
800 meet the peak a year?
Yeah.
So you're looking at about
Approximate-
2 to 3 a day.
Last year there was 851 that reached the summit. And that's reaching the summit.
Right.
getting to
So,
the top.
can you ask then how many fail to reach the top but try?
Yeah.
Because
Thousands.
you do you? I'm curious.
They have that many
I love
succeeding-
Brad Richardson. You know, you're like, well, you have a story like that. Alex, did you get poisoned on Mount Everest?
Just
no, I got
gives-
caught in a cave. What's that?
It just gives a percentage, and it's kind of crazy. It says approximately 40% of climbers who attempt to reach the summit of Everest fail to do so. So they're
That's-
saying there's
So, like,
That's
so
less than
60% success rate, which I believe, because again, they've got it to such a commercialized science that you're taking. I mean, you just have to have the physical ability to do it. And let's be real,
I don't.
the 90% of the people that could never do that don't, because they know I get tired walking a hill. Like I'm not doing that. That is fascinating. So if there's 60% that make it, that's the 80 or the 850. That means you're looking at maybe 1,200 that attempt it a year.
That's
So
not bad.
you've got
Say a little more,
maybe
say like about
4 or 5 a
1,400, yeah.
day trying to climb it. But that's what's crazy is that doesn't match that image we just saw. Like there's 100 people in a line trying to climb it. So it's like, do they only climb on certain days?
This is crazy too. It says over 200 bodies remain on Mount Everest, mostly in the death zone above 8,000 meters, where low oxygen, extreme cold, and high winds, and they just remain there.
Yeah, forever. They're an ornament forever.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm serious when I, make light of the fact where they're like, yeah, go to the blue jacket guy and you're going to take a right. It's like these people are monuments of the path now.
Right.
That's absurd. And that's a risk you're signing up for is like,
Yeah.
I could just be a permanent mockery of
That's
this
the
hill.
risk you sign up for when maybe you end up just getting scammed, but you're not dead.
Yeah, literally you're eating baking soda. Ooh, I feel sick. Just imagine like
I feel
looking,
bubbly.
you're yeah, I feel like a 3rd grade volcano. Just imagine you're climbing this mountain and you just look over and it's just staring at you.
And you're like, beat ya.
You get frozen like 15 yards. Gotcha.
Boom.
It is crazy to think about. But just imagine, like, because it's so easy for us to giggle in a room with our friends. But, like, when you're facing your own mortality on the edge of exhaustion and you look over at
Don't make that face, dude. Just say guy blue coat.
guy blue coat.
The tour guy's like, I made him do this on himself.
Yeah, just literally one day he's just
It's the Fallout Boy.
Oh, boy.
anywho.
That's why I don't take
I
the
do-
scam thing serious.
Exactly.
That's why at the end of the day, I'm like,
I think when you look into that face, though, like the things going through these people's heads of like, I mean, that I'd love to hear people's thoughts of that because I got to imagine when you're on the verge of like, I don't know if I'm going to do this, but I'm trying because I'm this far. And then you look over at that guy and he's like, I tried and I made it this far. What is going through your head?
well, for him, not much.
Well, it's one thing. It's the last thing.
What is it? Man, it's cold. Boy, is it cold up here.
It
They
is-
weren't joking down there.
I should have listened. I should have looked out for the baking soda egg salad sandwich.
Oh, I would love some baking soda right now. Get off this thing. That's what I mean too. It's when you make it that high up too, you're not thinking about the evacuation helicopter. So the people that are taking you up there, calling it, are essentially maybe cheating you the experience you wanted.
Of getting frozen as an ornament.
Right.
I'm going down with the ship, Craig. And then they're just like, you should call the helicopter.
And-
Are you nauseous? And he's like, I told you I'm dying on this hill.
And true, when it says 60%, it doesn't mean the 40% perished. So
Right.
in terms of the perish percentage, it may be
I'm
like
sure-
1 or 2%. only.
Right.
Because
And I
it
believe
says
that.
it's like 8,000 meters up, which you're nearing the summit at that point.
But again, okay, let's ground ourselves back in the story of the day. We've got an insurance scam where hospitals are lying about the medical records to hide the baking soda. The helicopters are like, call me anytime, big dog, I'm over there. And the shaman are like, sprinkle baking soda and anything you can get your freaking hands on. They're all in on it. And the fact that part of this scheme is, hey, bub, wherever they're at the mountain, give me a call. And for $50,000, I'm there. You could just get a helicopter there. Then why do we have frozen popsicle people? Like, if you could get a helicopter, like helicopters can meet the elevation. So the other angle to this is, why isn't, the guy who owns Virgin Mobile, like, just pick a billionaire. Why isn't he going, you're going to fly me up there? What are we wasting our time becoming popsicle people for? If the helicopter can get up there, why is that not just the main mechanism here? Yeah. And then it's just, I'm a climber. It's like, all right, dude, well, if you freeze, you're a climber.
And that's kind of my point. I do love the idea of this scam, though. I really do. I'm going to give people credit because I can't believe they didn't do this sooner. Or I can't believe we're just finding out about this now, because this is the premise to a comedy movie, if you ask me. This whole thing is the complete premise to a comedy movie where when they finally call up for the helicopter, there's like a malfunction and they can't get the helicopter up there. So now you just have people stranded up there in baking soda, and they're now in this wacky situation of, well, do we can only get to you because the only part that isn't in a storm is the summit.
No, I gotta slap it. You're right, like that point, but I was reading the comment here by Slightly Stupid Milk. Love it. I think I'm saying that right. M1K. I'm going with milk. That's how I read it. I'm dyslexic. Anyway, Slightly Stupid. He points out, person points out, you can't because oxygen acclimation. So the whole time I'm saying that, I'm like, why wouldn't we just make a helicopter scheme just taking people up there? Like, pay me $100,000, maybe $200,000. You don't even have to climb. We'll take you. Because there's no way, because helicopters can't go that high.
Yeah.
Like, I guess you just don't think about that.
That's what I mean. I think the reason they call it like the Death Summit is right when you hit around 8,000. I'm sure we can't go up any higher.
You're right.
You're kind of up there.
Boom. Gotcha.
Like, I'm sure there's a part in the mountain where they reach and they say, hey, this is
no baking soda past this point.
This is the limit of where we could actually be of some assistance.
Wow. Hey, I really want to do that for my vacation.
And that's
really, it sounds really relaxing. Sounds like a relaxing vacation.
Yeah. Why would I want a mojito at the beach when I could do this?
All right. I think, it's crazy to see a scheme that could be this calculated across so many different divisions of the system. And this is where, the grounded boomer goes, yeah, come on. Not that many people can conspire together to make a big... Well, it happens. I think that's the only major noteworthy thing to come from this is...
Watergate, that should be there.
But again, that's just Watergate. That's I don't know, the most notorious conspiracy...
During their generation.
But the bigger point here is, here's a little small microcosm nestled in the shamans of Nepal, where schemes are happening even there. Like, is there any sanctity? Like, when somebody goes, yeah, I got duped by the jet ski guy in Punta Cana, people are like, but it's like, well,
should have done the excursion, knock onto that guy.
Turns out the scheming's in every corner.
Yeah. Doug, it's funny you mentioned Watergate, because I think I totally could see political espionage in everyday life. The idea that Mount Everest is a scheme, that the hospitals, the local authorities, the shaman people on the mountain, the helicopter pilots in on it, and they're all across the board. This is going to work perfectly. And it did.
Exactly. Slightly Stupid. Mount Everest death zone is a region above 8,000 meters where extremely low atmospheric pressure of sea level makes it impossible for human life to acclimatize, leading to rapid body deterioration. Oxygen levels are insufficient, causing severe hypoxia. Thanks, gang.
Yeah.
So
that's a big word for Elmo.
for a slightly stupid guy, that was good stuff.
That was good stuff.
Pretty good.
So
of the day.
any wrapping thoughts on that? Because again, the main takeaway is one, see how the system can play itself against you in even the most unique ways. But then the bigger piece, the story is like FAFO. I mean, it's just stupid game, stupid prizes.
That was going to be my wrapping thoughts. Is you're climbing Everest? Did it go well? No. Shocker.
Shocker.
Shocker. How do I know they put baking soda in it and they didn't just have to fly up and get your fat butt? I don't know.
Yeah, he really liked the egg salad sandwiches.
That's what I mean. If you're on Mount Everest eating egg salad sandwiches, I have questions. I have questions for you.
You're enjoying yourself too. Looks like you should have done the all-inclusive in Cancun.
Go on a Carnival cruise.
Exactly.
That's a wild ride.
So when you strip away the shock factor, the poisoning claims, the fake rescues, the millions of dollars, what you're really left looking at is something much more fundamental. What happens when incentives get completely out of alignment with trust? Because Everest isn't just another business. It's a place where people are operating at the edge of human limits, where climbers are forced to rely on guides, crews, and systems with absolute confidence that everyone is working towards the same goal. Get up safely, get down safely. But the moment money enters the equation in the wrong way, the goal starts to shift. If a rescue becomes more profitable than a successful summit, if an evacuation pays more than a safe descent, then the system starts rewarding the exact opposite of what it's built for. And that's the real danger here. Not just that fraud may have happened, but that the structure itself may have quietly encouraged it. Because once you create a system where emergencies generate revenue, you have to ask, how many emergencies are real and how many are created? And that question doesn't just apply to Everest. It applies anywhere trust, risk, and money intersect. Because the lesson here is bigger than one mountain. When the people responsible for your safety are also positioned to profit from your distress, you no longer have a safety system. You have a business model. And that's a line that once crossed is very hard to come back from.